Hello, my name is Brendan Watts and I am a junior at Loyola Academy. In this video, I want to tell you about the National Football League's nonprofit status, how it received it, and whether or not it deserves this title moving forward. When I started this project, I immediately gravitated towards sports. I love watching football, basketball, and baseball, and when I have time, playing them too. My favorite sport has to be football. I have cherished the memories that it has brought me so far, as well as the ones that I know I will experience in the future. While I really enjoy watching football, I know that playing it can be devastating to the lives of many who choose to do so. I thought about covering this topic in my report, but it has been dissected continuously with very little results to show for it. Thus, I hoped that going to the top of the game would influence decision makers on changing the state of the future NFL. I hope to bring light to the fact that while players' bodies wear down and get replaced, those who run the show receive $40+ million contracts, and the league office does not pay taxes. In beginning my report, I attempted to find the origins of the NFL's tax-exempt status. I found that the status was received after the 1966 merger between the NFL and AFL. According to Greg Easterbrook, a prominent sports journalist and historian working for The Atlantic, lobbyists looking out for the interests of the newly expanded NFL convinced lawmakers to include the NFL in Section 501c6 of the Internal Revenue Code. Easterbrook, in an appearance on a WNYC radio show, essentially said that those lobbyists convinced senators through monetary consideration. Whether or not this is perfectly true, it paints a disturbing picture of the history of the nonprofit status. After digging through the history of the status, I was tasked to find a heartbreaking story about the fallout of my topic. Obviously, however shady the NFL's tax status is, there are no direct correlations between human suffering and tax loopholes. Instead, I hope to shed some light on figures that may surprise you. According to Oklahoma Senator Tom Coburn and his Pro Sports Act, the NFL had annual gross receipts worth upwards of $184 million, all under the guise of a nonprofit organization. In addition to the NFL, the NHL, PGA Tour, and LPGA Tour are all organized under the 501c6 section of the Internal Revenue Code. This means that these professional sports offices, while qualified as not-for-profit trade organizations, rake in a combined $1.7 billion in untaxed revenue, according to Coburn. While egregious, this fact is not even compared to the truth about their titles. They shouldn't even be considered, according to the IRS and Coburn, as trade organizations because they conduct operations for a profit on a cooperative basis. So, while these multi-million-dollar organizations are receiving millions of dollars in tax-free income, struggling Americans have to make up for this loss with their taxes. How this disturbing reality has been overlooked for years is shocking. I can only hope it changes soon. Now, I want to examine the pros and cons of my bill, the Pro Sports Act, or S1524, from Senator Coburn. This bill hopes to strike down the clause in the Internal Revenue Code that grants nonprofit status to professional sports leagues. Some pros, or positive aspects of the bill, are that it designates specific statistics on how much untaxed revenue each league makes. Figures such as the fact that, quote, the NFL had annual gross receipts of $184.3 million, end quote, and, quote, in 2010, the leagues made a combined total of $1.7 billion, according to each organization's publicly available Form 990 filed with the Internal Revenue Service, end quote. That last quote also highlights another strength of the bill, which is its consistent use of documental and legal references. As a whole, the bill is constantly citing sections of the Internal Revenue Code to present its case, and it does so effectively. There are problems with the bill, however. One of the main issues I have with Coburn's bill is with its scope. Instead of trying to take the process increments at a time, the bill dives headfirst into the issue, essentially citing 4 powerful sports leagues with tax evasion and vowing to change this reality immediately. I believe the more realistic decision would have been to start with one league at a time instead of changing the entire code. Also, I think it would have been wise for Coburn to distinguish if any of the money earned by the NFL comes from NFL Ventures, a branch of the NFL that is taxed, because it is not directly clarified in the bill. Overall, The bill from Senator Coburn is ambitious and fact-oriented, and I believe that it has a similar goal of what I am trying to fix in my project. By going right after the tax-free revenue, Coburn made a bold move, and I hope it pays off for him. Now that that's finished, I simply want to sum up things and remind you of what I've attempted to accomplish through my research. Overall, I hope to find if the NFL tax-exempt policy was fair or not. My hypothesis was that it wasn't, and now, at the conclusion of my research, I can fully support my original hunch. Not only is this tax status founded in corrupt legal lobbying, but the status itself takes advantage of taxpayers. Over $180 million of untaxed revenue goes directly to the NFL, forcing taxpayers to make up the difference. That fact alone is why the issue is important to most Americans. When the common man loses money because billion-dollar enterprises like the NFL take advantage of legal loopholes, the wrong people suffer. That was the issue at the heart of my motivation for this project, and I hope this documentation of the tax-exempt policy creates new awareness in the right places. The question is, will you help make the change? Thanks for listening.